Kevin Durant was blindsided, according to Shams, that he was going to be traded. All of that is a mess. And I will tell you, after the Heat dealt with the Suns, Ishbia is a nightmare. Like, just the guy that owns the Suns trying to play general manager is making a mess of things, is the rich person who's in charge of everything and wants to run his team and is doing so poorly as an amateur rich guy with toys and doesn't know that you don't, try to make a trade for Jimmy Butler and then just ruin everything by informing your superstar who came to be with you through means that aren't direct that he's going to be traded. Like, that's a poison. You can't have that, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if Kevin Durant left after this season because of it. But he's saying about an ESPN report that the Suns locker room has been toxic the following. Quote, I heard that Ramona Shelburne came out and says our locker room is toxic. I try to tell people who aren't around this game much that it's easy to say our locker room is not connected when you come in there 45 minutes before and guys are in their game mode and not talking to each other. 4 or 5 guys might be in the training room. A few guys might be in the weight room. It's not a welcoming environment right before the game. That's part of getting ready to play. I think it's unfair and lazy to categorize our team as toxic when you come in there for 5 minutes throughout 4 months. That's the only time you've been in our locker room, and then you can make a narrative. I don't think that's fair to us, but like I said, that's part of the game, part of the business we signed up for. It is not fair in this game, but we got to deal with it and accept it. What are your thoughts there?
Who was that? Was that Ishbia or Durant?
That's Durant.
Okay.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, Kevin Durant, first off, I'm certain that's done by reporting. I'm certain the sources are good, that it's toxic in that locker room, and Kevin Durant's in charge of that. So for him to take it personally, he should, because he's one of the leaders of that team. Make sure the environment's not toxic. I believe the reports. I do.
But he's denying the reports.
I don't care what he's denying. I mean, I believe the reports. I believe the sources. It's coming from a good place. And Kevin Durant this has followed him to many of the places that he's gone. And so I'm not surprised by the reports.
I don't think a lot of people have said that he works in toxic locker rooms. I don't think that that's followed Kevin Durant. I
think that was the case in Brooklyn. I think he teams up with guys who are considered toxic, like Kyrie Irving, and then you have a toxic environment. Why would this be surprising to anyone? And why would it be surprising to a single person that Kevin Durant is questioning the sources and the story itself, saying, no, you've been there for 5 minutes? No. This is not about how long you've been in the locker room. This is about sources within that organization telling a credible reporter, hey, it's toxic in here.
I also saw Ramona speak on this, and to me it sounded like, the report is a report, but on TV, it also sounded like a fair amount of forecasting, like this is going to be a bad situation. It might not be a good situation now. It's only going to get worse. And I think Kevin might be seizing on a more literal definition of what's happening in the past or the present.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is that because Kevin Durant was blindsided by this idea that he might be suddenly traded, he is a part of whatever toxicity there might be, right? Based on his attitude and feeling blindsided and feeling not appreciated, or whatever one feels when you don't expect to be traded and all of a sudden you're in the middle of all these rumors, Miami rumors and such. I mean, that he's got to be pretty sour right now.
I find usually very interesting how different the player perspective can be from everybody else's perspective. So he's arriving at this conclusion that you don't know what you're talking about because you're not in here.
Right.
But Ramona is not someone. She may not have been there very much for 4 months, but she's talking to the people who are there. Like,
correct.
She's doing the kind of reporting. This is not just some gas bag saying something on television or on the radio that hasn't done the reporting on that. She's not going to make stuff up for clicks. She's never done that. And Sugats is right that the credibility there is in place in a way that I think we should treasure at this time as things become more and more murky. What's true and what's not true. I saw that Hank Azaria, AI, is now trying to create his voices so that all 21 of the Simpsons characters he can not be paid for them because I have no idea what's coming for our future in terms of what's real and what's not real. But for the moment,
well, just trust the leadership in place during this really highly volatile time. I've actually wrapped my head around it so much because I fear AI. It grows more powerful every day.
You should fear it.
And we have this leadership in place. There's so much tech influence. I'm really scared about it. But you know how when you botch a Google search and it says, did you mean? and you could be in this endless loop. What if the leadership that we have right now is so confusing, keeps AI on its heels the entire time, that it's just left in a perpetual, did you mean, wait, I can't actually reason with this. Maybe this is the perfect leadership to have during these times.
Elon Musk, it feels like, is running our country, and furthermore, he's investing in all future AI technology because the amount of power that he wishes to have over a future that is uncertain and scary is a bit terrifying, especially since he's a descendant of apartheid, and you've seen some of his behavior and how shameless he is about grabbing at power, money, and attention.
He did try to buy OpenAI for like $97.4 billion, and the counter was, we'll just buy X for $9 billion. No thanks.
Yeah. So I wanted to explore, though, the parts of this that happened with the Miami Heat as it relates to Kevin Durant. First of all, you should know that was not close. It was never close. There was nothing close there. A conversation.
So not a whiff? It wasn't a whiff by Riley?
It was not a whiff. It wasn't close. Well, it's a whiff if you think. This is where it is a whiff, okay? The reason it wasn't close is because of the Heat, not because of the Suns, and because the ask was, according to the people I've talked to, our entire team. It wasn't one of these young players. It wasn't Jaquez and Ware. It was they wanted our whole team. And Ishbia isn't going to trade Durant he's not going to trade Durant for pennies on the dime. He's not going to blindside Durant unless he was just sort of sniffing around on what's the most I can get for Durant. I know the Miami Heat are interested in this.
I mean, the Suns have a better record than the Heat. Maybe they should have done it.
Do you think so?
Trade the whole team.
For Kevin
just trade
Durant?
the entire team. Imagine if they just trade jerseys.
For a 36-year-old Kevin Durant.
It seems like Riley's
Would
going to
have
have
been
an
fun. He would have landed a whale. We've been
Seems like
hearing
a
about
big
all
ass.
these years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, what do the Suns do then? They have way too many players. You know?
Right.
It seems like the opportunity to whiff on Kevin Durant will present itself once again. And I know we're on the Heat aspect of it right now, but one thing that I can say with certainty is toxicity is subjective. I guess Kevin Durant famously just cares about ball, keeps his head down. Whatever the locker room situation is in Phoenix, he prefers that well over going back to Golden State. Like, whatever you may think of that Phoenix locker room, he thinks going back into that Golden State locker room, which would be a cool story on the outside if you have no inside information. Go back to Golden State. Come back to a hero's welcome. Hell, you may actually be able to compete for a title with Steph again. He does not want to go back to Draymond Green in that situation.
I'll get back to the Durant part of this in a second, but last night the Warriors won against Milwaukee in Milwaukee, and I don't remember this. I'm trying to do it off the top of my head. Steph's been very good the last 4 games, especially the last 2 with Jimmy Butler. Has he ever played with somebody who can get 15 free throws a game? Because the way Jimmy's playing there, it doesn't even matter that he's 4 for 12. He's just going at the rim, and I'm wondering, have they had a player in Steph Curry's entire tenure that'll cave in the defense at the rim so that he's getting 15 foul shots a game?
I mean, it wasn't their game when they were winning championships, right? So you're looking at Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. I don't remember those guys getting to the line 15
But has
times,
there been anybody? Has there been anybody in Has Steph Curry ever played with a player? Like, I know they went at the beginning of all of that, they were throwing Bogut's and bigs and just bigs at the rim, and I just don't remember whether Steph has had that ingredient before or not. But Billy, do you, like, if I say to you, I don't even know, like, I don't have the contract matchup, and I didn't ask about particular players, and they wouldn't tell me about particular players anyway. But when they say the whole team, if I say it's some combination, if it's Ware, Jaquez, and Bam, and like if that fits up and Jovic
and Jimmy
and Jovic and Jimmy, like if I make it all of those players, you want a 36-year-old Kevin Durant to just play with Tyler Hero and not guard anybody?
I mean, I think we're just married to guys that are a play-in team every year, and then they go on a run and make the finals. But like this core isn't good enough, right? Like, can we all? Jeremy won't agree, but can we all agree they're not good enough? They've made it to the finals twice, but like
with Jimmy,
this isn't a team that is like competing with the Celtics in the East. This is like a 7, 8, 9 middling team that then goes on a run at the right time. At a certain point, you have to like accept, and I mean, I do this as someone who's a fan of the Marlins, who are never really good enough. You have to accept that like the people you've fallen in love with just may not be good enough to get done what you want to get done, and you need to move on. Now, trading all of them for Kevin Durant isn't the solution, but Kevin Durant in a Heat uniform is pretty cool.
I feel like if you kept just Bam, I would have been okay with it. Like, I'd
you
give up
just
Tyler, give up Ware.
Really?
Just so we're clear, you're just trotting out Kevin Durant and Bam every
You
game.
just lose so much defense. If you lose Bam from this team and you're left with Durant and
Right.
Tyler Hero, I mean, the defense,
But like
woof.
they're 25 and 26. What are you giving up? You know what I mean? Like you're making it seem like you're breaking up a powerhouse. That's not the reality. You just like all these players because you're familiar with them and they've been around a
Bam
long
was a
time.
starting player on Team USA.
Okay, great. And
Billy
they're
is
25 and
100% right.
I just said I'd give up everybody. I mean,
Team USA is not
for
what
you
it
guys
used
not
to
to
be.
acknowledge that Bam is a good piece.
I'm not saying he's not a good piece. They're just like these pieces have proven that they're really not good enough.
He's a good piece that we've been saying for a decade. Can he piece it all together? He is never going to be the total package.
Right.
He's never going to be the more aggressive Bam. He is never going to be the guy. He is well past that tipping point. He is a finished product. If you want to hold on to that, cool. He's a nice player, good player, nice player, fine player. Retire his jersey in the rafters. But we know what he is. The day of projecting Bam Adebayo, that ended 3 years ago.
But you do that for Luka, 25. Like, I wouldn't give up that, even though I'm not disagreeing that he is limited, but I'm not giving him up for a 36-year-old.
Chris, he was their lead player last night, and they scored 85 points, the worst of the season. Understood that it's discombobulated out there. He cannot be your best player. He cannot be your most important player, and he cannot be weakened as you make Tyler Hero your best player because of the usage rate.